Well, we are talking about how cold it is outside for us human beings, but let's talk about your best friend. Man's best friend. I want to introduce you to Dawn. Dawn Johnson from the Genesee County Humane Society joins us this morning, and this is Sonny. Good morning, Sonny. How you doing, buddy? He's such a good dog. Well, we're talking about how cold it is for us. Let's talk about pets. What are some of the, everybody knows to bring your pets, and that's the #1 thing you could do, correct, is to bring them inside when it gets this cold.
That's correct.
What if you can't?
Well, we're encouraging people to make sure there's some type of shelter outside, whether it's a dog house or a dog igloo. Make sure that it's filled with something warm and dry like straw or blankets or heavy ticking. Make sure that the doorway doesn't face the wind. And most importantly, make sure they have water versus ice in their bowl. Right. Because they'll get dehydrated if they only have ice. And
you'll have to check that with temperatures that are so cold. I mean, we're 0 to 2 degrees. Water freezes very quickly. So definitely check it every couple of minutes, I would say.
Yes, if you can, yes. And certainly have a backup bowl inside so maybe you can bring the fresh water out if the water is frozen solid.
Now you've got Sonny's parka. This is something that can help out too, right?
I do. A lot of people think that it's really difficult to put a coat on your dog. Yeah. And this is a really basic parka. It's got Velcro, and it's nylon on the outside, polar fleece on the inside, so it keeps them dry and warm. And basically it just goes over the head and Velcro's around the middle, and that's the end of it. And so it's, takes about 5 seconds to put on, and he's warm and dry. And
their fur helps, but they need a little bit more help.
They do with the wind chill factor where it is this morning. So
incredibly low. Well, let's talk about cats too. If you have the outdoor cats, we talked about it earlier. When I lived in Maryland for a short amount of time, we had a cat. He ran under the car after we turned the car off. My dad and I went back out. We banged on the hood, but he was stubborn. My dad turned on the car engine, and this is what happened to him. He lost his leg. He was lucky, though, because you say many cats actually are killed when this happens to them. He only lost a leg, though.
Wow. We encourage people to keep their cats indoors all year round, just because predators can get them, and it's unsafe for them outside. But, short of banging on the hood, that would scare most cats. So your cat must have
He was stubborn. He was a hardhead. Believe it or not, he lived 20 years
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So he was lucky, but definitely try and remember that if you have outdoor cats, that car is a nice warm source for them, especially when you're below 0.
It is. It is.
Now, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about as far as we talked about earlier, keeping them away from ponds and trying to keep them on the leash and things like that?
One of the things I'd like to encourage everybody to do is watch out for your neighbors' pets, because sometimes when people keep their animals outside, they forget that they're out there and it's colder. And so we've been receiving a lot of cruelty calls about people's pets that are outside, and we just have one part-time cruelty investigator. So if you could just take it upon yourself to call your neighbor and say, I know you love your dog, I know it's an outside dog, do you know the wind chill factor is 8 below this morning? I love your dog too, so I'd like him to be warm.
Yeah. Is there a website that you guys have with more information on?
We do. You want to go to www.geneseehumane.org, and we have a lot of information.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for
coming
in.
Thank you for
I called her yesterday, and just like that, she came in here for us this morning.
Appreciate being asked.
Yeah. Thank you, Sonny. Well, coming up next, we're still